Classes A and B for their race, with in pole position Mark Hales in the Firestone Ford Sierra Cosworth. Alongside him Keith Adore, and completing the front row Lionel Abbott. Newcomers Graham Davis in the distinctive motor-build car and former hot rodder Tommy Field line up in row 2. Practice times were very close, with the first 6 cars, all Sierra Cosworths, covered by less than a second. Then came the first of the Class B cars, the FINA BMW M3 of Robin Brundle. He's the brother of former Grand Prix driver and current Silkart Jaguar driver Martin Brundle. In car now with David Pinkney. The lights go green and Mark Hales gets sideways. Graham Davies getting a bit crossed up as well. Back to Dave Pinkney. And Dave takes a wide line, somebody getting very sideways there. And whoops, there's a bump for David Pinkney and he's well onto the rough. Field streaming through as he sorts out that moment. He's lost several places. Coming down out of Druid's hairpin towards Graham Hill Bend, and Mark Hales in the lead in the Firestone Sierra, chased by Keith Adore. In car with Dave Pinkney, making up places now, passing one of the BMWs and turning in to Surtees and then McLaren behind Dave Morgan, looking for a gap but there isn't one. Maybe on the straight he'll find a way by. Sierra's nose to tail. Mark Hales crosses the line with a good first lap lead, followed by Keith Adore, Graham Davis, Sean Brown, Tommy Field, Dave Morgan and Dave Pinkney with a camera car. Rest of the field streaming through now. Back with Dave Pinkney, and he's still behind Dave Morgan. Very close there. David going a bit wide. And there goes Colin Blower, taking advantage of that slip from Dave Pinkney. But Dave winds up the rubber band and goes past Colin Blower again. Back behind Dave Morgan. He's disposed of this to Ryan. Turns in early, takes a tight line, but Dave Morgan gets slightly better acceleration out of the corner and races away down the straight. Dave Pinkney right in behind Dave Morgan, hoping for a mistake, approaching Paddock Hill Bend, closing up there, and again takes a wide line. There goes Mark Hales, smooth. Rest of the field chasing him. Dave Pinkney taking a tight line, and there goes Lionel Abbott. Coming into the frame, passing Dave Pinkney, trying to pass Dave Morgan, but he runs wide. And Dave Pinkney comes past Lionel Abbott again. Very close. Whoops, was that a bump there? Only the drivers would know for sure. Dave Pinkney taking a tight line again. And Dave Morgan gets the acceleration and goes away down the straight. Rest of the field starting to pull away now. And there goes Lionel Abbott, passing Dave Pinkney at the end of the straight. Looking for a way past Dave Morgan. These 3 cars very close together. Down the inside. No, Dave Morgan's wise to that one and closes the gap. Lionel Abbott goes to the outside now. Dave Pinkney looking for a gap. These 3 cars fighting tooth and nail. Down towards Graham Hill Bend. Here's an outside view of this scrap. And Colin Blower and the 2 FINA BMWs very close behind those 3. Back with Dave Pinkney. Lionel Abbott still looking for a way past Dave Morgan. There's Barbara Cowell in the extra staff BMW. And whoops, there's a problem. That's Vaughan Richmond getting a helping hand from Nick Wales. Barbara Cowell continues undeterred. Back with the leaders now. There's Dave Pinkney. In car with Barbara Cowell as she chases Nick Wales and the other BMW. Barbara's having a handling problem with this car, and you'll see she has to apply a lot of lock to get round these corners. Front wheels sliding, slower cars in the way. Nick Wales through on the inside of these two slow cars, and Barbara's right behind. And there goes the leader, Mark Hales, putting a lap on these two cars, leading the race comfortably. There's Barbara closing on Nick Wales under braking, turning in. Whoops, and there goes Keith O'Dore, sneaking through. Barbara taking a big handful of lock to get through Paddock Hill Bend that time. And look how much steering she has to apply to get round Druids. Very closely matched, these two. Nothing much in it as they go down towards Graham Hill Bend. Barbara trying to stay with Nick Wales there in the central BMW. Sun shining in Barbara's eyes there. Nick Wales bouncing over the curbs, turning into clearways now. Barbara turning in early there, trying to kill that understeer. Big armfuls of lock required. Front wheels sliding wide there. Difficult for Barbara to hold the line. There goes Sean Brown. Very fast in a straight line, the Sierras. Whoops, Barbara running wide there. Off onto the rough stuff. Struggling to stay with Nick Wales now. Catching up under braking slightly. There she's wrestling with the steering again. There's two more of the class leading cars going through. Frank Cundell in the Opel Monza has found a little more speed than Barbara coming down the hill and snuck through. These two still on the same lap, remember. Graham Davis is a lap ahead now. Oh, and that's a nasty looking incident. That's Ricky Fagan in the Mercedes-Benz. He's okay, clambering out of the car. Marshall's scurrying to turn the master switch off. Don't know what Ricky was indicating there. Mayday, perhaps. There the indicator goes off as the marshal switches the master switch off. They've got the situation under control. And there's another incident. That's Martin Black in the Rover Vitesse. That's the car that Dave Pinkney drove last year. Because of that spectacular incident with Ricky Fagan, the race was stopped a lap early. And here's Mark Hales, a tired but happy winner.
He's alright. Did we win?
Yes, you did, Robin.
Class win, yeah.
Well done.
Magic.
First in Class B in the FINA BMW. We're happy to say that Ricky Fagan was quite unhurt in his big shunt, but that's more than can be said for the car. The drivers set off on their lap of honour. Mark Hales, outright winner and winner of Class A, Keith O'Dore second, and Robin Brundle, winner of Class B.